All right, what's up, everybody? This morning, we're going to be doing a little bit of texture compositing. So, one thing to note, this lesson is basically coming off of Substance. Now, I'm in the process of learning Substance, and I know enough about the texturing process to know what Substance is doing. So, Substance Painter is a texturing program, and when you're in the middle of texturing a model, my Unreal's loading in the background, so I'll pull the model up in a minute. When you're in the middle of texturing a model, what Substance has a tendency to do is whenever you import model one-on-one or even as a group, unless it's like collapsed as one object, Substance looks at each individual mesh as its own thing. And so what has happened here in this circumstance is one of our artists, a friend of mine named Chris Ross, he created this texture set. And so basically this is demonstrating I have one mesh, two mesh, three mesh, four mesh, five mesh, six meshes that is been put out. And so what has happened is he is basically put out a normal map, a albedo map, which is also known as a diffuse map, and then also an ARM, a RAM, or RGBA, depending on who you are and what you call it. Basically a mask. And so what I'm going to do is, I don't have Substance. It's just not something that I personally need at the moment, but is something that like I said, I'm in the process of learning. So I kind of want to go over what is actually happening. So what is happening versus what should happen. So what is happening is that when Ross created this piece of geometry, he unwrapped everything on one texture. So that means even though he had 6 pieces, he made one global unwrap for all 6, which is the right way to do it. You want to have as minimal draw calls as possible. And so what's happening is all of this streaking is called padding. It's basically when he bounces the map, or when he exports it out, it's taking the last pixel of what is seen here and it's stretching it all the way to the end. And so I'm going to do a rough composite process and even give this to him as an example of what he can do for himself. So on delivery, make sure that we basically getting one normal, one albedo, one mask, and which is like technically the right way to do something like this. So I'm just going to go through here, and I don't mind so much that I have a little bit of padding left over. So I'm just going to basically mask this selection out and go something like this. I'm going to hit Control J, and then there you go. You can see basically what I'm left with. So then I'll bring the next map in, and there we go for this one. Yes, go ahead and proceed. Let me make sure that this is both 1024 or 2048, whatever he's decided to do. This is a 1024, and this should also be a 1024. Okay, good. All right, so then we're going to go through here, do the same thing. So let's go ahead and grab all of this. I don't need all this padding over here on the side. All right, so Control J. And then there's our next piece, so we can see these 2 pieces. Okay. Let's go grab the next one and close this now. We don't need this. So let's go see this over here. We got some nice decals on the signage over here. We can actually do this in Unreal, another lesson for a different day. Control J for this. Okay. There we go. And so we got a little bit of padding overlap over here. That's okay. We'll just reorder the stuff. No big deal. We don't need that anymore. Let's come over here. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at over here. That's no big deal. Maybe something like that is probably good enough. Control J. All right. Now, Substance can do this. When you're exporting or when you're bouncing something out, this is something that Substance can do. You don't have to do this manually inside of Photoshop. This is actually an example for one of our artists here of what I expect when people turn in work. Every company has a standard, and sometimes people people just don't know what your standard is. So you got to take a minute and let them know, hey, this is what we're looking to do, and this is our goals. You can't just, go up to them as a bad manager and say, oh, well, you should know this. The industry is changing so fast all the time. You've got to be able to throw people a bone sometimes and not just say, go figure it out. Although I'm not saying that's a bad way of teaching, but that's not the exclusive way of teaching. Okay, let's go something like this. And so now what's the purpose of doing this? Like, why can't we just use what Substance gave us? Why can't we use all, 6 of these normal maps as a separate thing and put them all on one material and then, go from there? This is not good. So this means this might actually go on a different material. So I'm just going to go put this on the top. I'm going to put this in a different group. So that's something to note. So if you look at the folder, we've got 18 items in here. Okay, we've got 18 separate textures that would have to be called in real time, whenever this object pops up. Every single one of those textures being called is what is known as a draw call. D-R-A-W, draw call, C-A-L-L. And what happens is when you have these draw calls, it actually pulls on RAM. And if you can reduce 18 draw calls down to 1, why? Because instead of having, so you have 18 textures, which is 6 different materials. You're drawing 18 textures across 6 materials. That's 3 textures per material, when you can just have one material that has 3 textures being called. So it's just better allocation. It's just a smarter way of doing this. Okay, so I think, well, that's it. So that means like this is about where it starts and ends here. And it looks like I've got some massive, oh, there we go. Okay, I see what's happening. It is actually correct. I can just remove some of this extra padding over here. So that's good. That doesn't actually overlap, which is good. I was afraid that this was actually on a different texture altogether. And then over here, probably okay. Yeah, that's okay. You know what? No big deal. I don't really understand the unwrap. I'd have to go, open it up inside of Max or something to verify. But essentially what I'm going to do at this point, I could delete these 2, but I'm just going to go ahead and fill this with normal map blue. So I have that in my palette. I'm just going to do an edit fill. And here's my normal map. And this is what I'm going to end up using. So let's just put all this in a group and call this normal. Normal. Okay. I'm also going to save this as a PSD. Now I have a very specific naming convention that I use. So we have this as a texture. It's an object. This is the name of the gate. So technically it's architecture, and I should be labeling it as such. So let's just go ahead and rename that. Right. It's exterior architecture. So ARCH. I can put EXT, which is fine. All right. And Tori. And so in this particular case, it's the main section. So I can either call it main or base. So just, I'll use Chris's. I think he used main. Okay, 00. Okay, so that's the name of the PSD. And I'm actually going to save this as a Targa. All right. Targa is the preferred file format. Okay, this is also going to be, right now it's in 16-bit, I think. Yeah, we're going to put this down to 8-bit. File, save as. Make it a Targa. There we go. That's the standard of what we're using. Now, just to let you guys know too, what I have a tendency to do is I put the ambient occlusion map inside my channel. Now I know that's like kind of like, ooh, why would you do that? It saves space. We're not AAA, so ship it. That's the way I roll. Okay. Next thing. Okay, so let's pull out the next set of maps. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go ahead and grab the diffuse. So anything that's marked base color. Okay, so there should be 6 selected. That's 5. I'm missing 1. 6. Base. Okay. Let's open these up. 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's what I do is I just one at a time. I just pull it in like this. And the selection sets are essentially going to be exactly the same, right? So I just kind of save some time here. I just drag them in one at a time. Oh, and let's go ahead and put this in a folder. Now, this is all called an albedo map, but I'm old school, so I still call them diffuse. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect the engine quality. It's just vocabulary, guys. Don't worry about it. I think some people get hung up on stuff for so long they just forget to ship it. Spend more time arguing and not enough time producing. There we go. Okay, so what I like to do is I'll just control click the first one and I try to look for the layer that it's representing. So, oh, I lucked out. That's the first one. So then I say control J. And then I open it up again, control click, look for the next one. Look, oh man, it's kind of funny. 2 for 2. Okay, then we go to the next one. Control click. There we go. Find the next one. Oh, missed that one. Not that one. Oh, there you are. So let's do control J here. Let's go to the next one. Let's see what happens next. So what about this? Oh, there you are. We go do the next one. So what else do I got? Nope. It's probably going to be this. But I'll hold off on that for a minute just because it is solid color and I want to make absolutely for certain, you know, there we go. Okay, so that's this one here. Okay, and as you can see, like, you know, this frame padding, I overboarded it over here, and that's okay, you know. I'd rather be a little safe than sorry. And then, okay, and that's it. So that should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Okay, so that's the last one. I was right. It's going to be this piece right here. And we're going to go ahead and hide the normal map and then turn off all this background stuff. Okay. What did I do? Miss one? There it is. There we go. So now let's just put it all in a safe order. Like that. I'll just go ahead and take this. Now, what color do I use in the background? I usually use 128 gray. All right, I just use that. Or you can use black. It doesn't matter. You know, it's just a preference. Like, I know the majority of this is red. I could technically use this as well. Edit fill. You know, that's fine. We can do that too. Now, I do want to do this. I'm going to put this at the very bottom just to make sure I get the right overlap. Okay, so this is going to be my diffuse map. So I control S for save on the PSD. Let's do this as a target. So how come I add 00 underscore 00, right? Tory main gate. So this is actually supposed to be my normal 00 underscore and 00. There we go. So the first 00 means the geometry type. So I plan on having more than one main base, one main structure. Okay. This is the first diffuse map, and then what if I have a different skin for it? So this is actually the color or the iteration would probably be the best thing. Because what if I change the geometry a bit, then all of a sudden it would be 01 underscore D underscore 00, but then, so that's one type. And then what if I did something where I have the same geometry and I changed up the texture? Well, then that would be 00 underscore D underscore 01. So that's how that works. Okay, lastly, let's go ahead and grab the arm or the ram, whatever you guys want to call it. So basically just the reflection map, the roughness, the specular. I should have 6 of these, but I'm like, oh, here we go, right here. So a RAM, if I remember correctly, or an ARM map, it's roughness, ambient, and metallic. You know, it's basically just an advanced specular map. So the same kind of thing. Let's go ahead and put this in the right order here. I'm gonna just call this RGBA. All right, that's how I grew up understanding this stuff. So that's the naming convention that I use. Control J here. All right. So there we go. There's one. And then here's the one over here. It's a Control J. So that's again. Whoops. do the next one, which is going to be over here. Control J. All right, and then so let's do this. So we got some wood. That looks about right. Control J. And then we drag this over. Let's grab another. It's this one. Control J. And then this one's a bit special. This is the metallic map, believe it or not. So let's go ahead and put that on the top. We will use this one maybe? Yeah, Control J. So now I'll explain how all of this works on what the computer is actually going to see inside of Unreal. Okay, so I'll put that on the bottom. So what is the computer seeing? Well, first and foremost, let's put a background color on here. I think that's important to make a note of. So let's make it background color. I absolutely use 128 gray for this. Okay. You can also use white. White should be, I think, white is 0. Black is 0. Yeah, let's use black instead. Edit fill. Honestly, it's not going to matter too much. Okay, so what's happening here, what you're seeing is that the Substance is exporting channel data. It's exporting the roughness data, it's exporting metallic data, it's exporting ambient occlusion data, and we don't have ambient occlusion data in here. Chris didn't give me any. Unless it was in the alpha channel. I guess I could have looked that up. Let me check that real quick. Just pull one of these in. Let's just see if it's in the alpha. No, there's no alpha in there. Okay. So basically what these masks are telling me is if I go to the red channel, this is showing me my roughness. This is going to show me how glossy something should be. This green channel and the red channel are technically displaying the same data right now, but the blue channel, however, this is telling me something completely different. So anywhere in this blue channel, it's telling me that I've got some heavy duty specular or like white points that is going to be struck when the material is being used. So what I like to do honestly is I can leave this as is, but I like to use my specular data. Now I'm trying to remember what I did last night, so let's go ahead and open my previous version up. I guess, and while I got it open too, I'll go ahead and rename these other files. That's my support. Tory support underscore. Okay, let's get that. Let's go ahead and rename these. And then there we go. All right, let's open my PSD, see what I did last night. So I went into my channel and I put my emissive in my RGBA, right? I put my emissive inside here. So it'll be basically saying that I have in this other texture here in the support, there is a glowing light that happens. So I put my emissive stuff, anything that has a glow to it, I put that in the alpha channel. So this particular column right now, to my knowledge, doesn't actually have a glow to it. So I'm just going to leave it alone. So this is probably just going to work out for me just as is. And so we'll go ahead and save this out as an RGBA. Again, I know it's called an ARM or a RAM depending on who you are. Okay. Let's just say this is a Targa. Remember, RAM is roughness, roughness, ambient occlusion, or metallic. Okay, so let's just call this RGBA. Because what is an RGBA? I've also known it called as a mask, M-A-S-K. Okay, and there's no alpha channel in it right now, so I'm just going to save it as a 24-bit. A mask is going to allow me to manipulate one area of a specific spot or pixel. So I'm just going to leave Photoshop open for now. Okay, so here's our game, and I'm going to go to our Tory gate. I'm actually going to rename it here because it is a piece of architecture which I need to communicate. Is it going to let me rename it? I'll have to do it on the manually inside the hard drive. Okay, go to the textures. Okay, and then so here we go. Here's our textures. And then again, now I'm only calling 3 textures. I have composited this material together. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this. I'm going to bring it inside of Unreal. Okay. Now I started this material last night, but I'm going to basically rebuild it because I have specific fun stuff that I like to do. So I start one out as a test just to make sure that everything looks cool. So I'll pull that open. See, this is what I'm saying. So when Chris first gave me everything and I pulled everything inside of Unreal, I had all these materials that are being used, and I created this one material, and now that one material does the job of all of these other materials. So let's go ahead and see what this does. Okay, and this is going to be my one I'm building my information off of. So I'll walk you guys through and I'll comment out what's actually happening. I've got like 15 to 20 minutes to do this. I've got an appointment at 9 o'clock, so I got to make sure I get this done kind of quick today. Why are you taking so long to open? Come on. I'll just go ahead and close Photoshop down. Probably taking all my RAM. Okay, so here we go. So what's happening is, I've got just a standard material, and I'm calling in Chris's normal map. I got his diffuse map here, and I have his arm, RAM, mask, RGBA, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so for this, from now on, I'm probably just going to call this an RGBA just because that's my habit. Red, green, blue, alpha, RGBA. Okay. This information right here has to do with the color of my glow. All right, that's what's happening right there. My warm light, and also I have my roughness that's happening. And let's just go ahead and build it. So I'm going to use this as my template. I'm going to go ahead and go into my materials, and I'm going to make a brand new one. So I'm actually going to create a material function. I create material functions because they're a little bit more robust. So M underscore, it's an object, underscore architecture, underscore Tori, TORII underscore 00. That's the name of my material function. And when I create it, it's just going to give me this one output level. And so what I have to do, first thing, I'm going to right click. I'm going to do a make. So I'm going to make my material. Let's go ahead and connect it up. Okay. And from this material, what exactly I'm going to be using? I'm going to use base color. I'm going to use roughness, specular. I'm going to use metallic. I'm going to use normal and emissive. So that's 6 different channels. So let's go ahead and bring the textures in that I was using, okay? And which would be these guys here, all right? These are my textures. Let's go ahead and drop them in. Boop, boop, boop. All right, currently these guys are set to a texture sample. And there's 2 ways that I like to go about doing this, just depending on the day and how I feel. You can create texture parameters, or you can do input functions. Input functions are when you're actually going to do a composite material, and when I'm not really going to do a composite material. I'm going to do a standard RGBA blend. So I can just do just parameters today. So what we can do is we can convert this to a parameter, okay. Just go ahead and do that. I don't have any macro detail that I'm going to put into this right now, so it's not really necessary. I like to name everything. So I'm going to go ahead and parameter name. So this is going to be architecture, diffuse. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use this material on all different types of architecture as often as I can. So let's go ahead and turn this into a normal. And let's go ahead and turn this into a RGBA. All right. And I can connect this to a base color, but I like to do some funky business, some funky stuff. I have a bit of a fingerprint when I work on my stuff. It's an art style. let's go to my textures, or my materials, sorry, master materials. So I have a utility that I created. Where's my tools? All right, and whoops, it's not going to be, oh, that's in Thundercloud, my bad. Let's go to tools. So I have this Fresnel that I like. It just gives me some fun stuff. So I have this material function utility called a Fresnel. And this is my, I think this might be my simple one. Nope, that's advanced. So what I like to do is I like to overlay my Fresnel into my my diffuse albedo. Okay, I'm also going to create some parameters here, some constants. So I just basically went on the keyboard and clicked, and I'll put some numbers in here. If I go click in it, it'll tell me what I like my default set as. So Fresnel power is 1, and then Fresnel exponent width is 4. So let's do a 4 and 1, 4 and 1, and I'm going to go ahead and make these parameters, right? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a priority. So we're gonna start the priority on this at 10, and we're going to call this one 11. We're going to go ahead. Why does it keep doing that? I apologize. Why it keeps pulling away. So we're going to call this Fresnel power. So basically these parameters are, I'm naming them accordingly over here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I want to say I'm doing a add. So I'm adding my Fresnel onto, we'll just go ahead and start a preview, onto my diffuse, and we're going to see what that looks like here. Okay, I should get this nice rim light over top. All right, now power seems kind of strong. That's okay, we'll fix all that on the back end. This is just to get things going, and I can see my results. My results are doing exactly what I want it to do. That's all I care about. And so really at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and add it into base color and stop the preview. Okay, so that works. So now what's happening is I should be, let's go ahead and preview my output result. Okay, it's going to show me just my diffuse color. It's going to be all nice and bright. Come on. I'll have my Fresnel overlaid on top of it. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and add the roughness in here. So red for roughness. Let's just see what it does. See if I can get any kind of good result. And then the blue is going to be metallic. So I'll add that in a minute. So let's just see what's going on over here. Okay, so the roughness of wood looks actually really nice. I really don't have to do anything over here. Now, in my previous version, what I did is I added a LERP, linear interpolation, and I pulled this in, I want to say in A, right? Yeah, and then I added, I'll just go ahead and copy this constant over, 0.35. So this was actually so I can change and adjust, like, because like substance is pretty good. It's not too shabby on the output of roughness. It's pretty close. And but what if I as a the overall director want to change and add a little bit more glossiness to my system? Whoops, I was actually going to go in. And alpha is at 0.5. Yeah, my bad. Let's go ahead and change this up. Break. So I'm just going to go ahead and convert to a parameter here. I'm going to set this priority to 5, and I'm going to call this roughness blend. Okay, so this will allow me to change my roughness just a little bit if I want it to be a little bit more glossy than what the default was, or a little less glossy. So I can change that over here. Okay, so yeah, I made it a little bit more flat. It's not as strong as it was. Okay, and okay, so we now have a metallic, so let's go ahead and plug that right in. So this is basically saying any area inside this alpha channel is going to be metallic, which we know that we have. And then the normal map we can add straight in as well. But this, again, this has no macro detail on it, or micro detail, whatever you want to call it. And I think I'm going to add some of that in. Let's go grab some of this. Now I've got this this tool that I made based off of Unreal's macro variation. So let me go ahead and open that up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This goes into diffuse. So if I open this up, some of you guys who do material work will recognize this right away. This is Unreal's macro variation setup. And so what I did is, instead of having to recreate this every single time, I just go ahead and made it a material function, and then I can just drop this in and blend it in with my my diffuse settings. So what I'll do is, before I hit this add, let's go ahead and drop this in here. We'll just do a maybe a multiply. We'll go ahead and check this real quick. Start preview. We'll do macro variation with our diffuse. And just break it up just a little bit. Okay, and to be honest, if I wanted to, I can actually let's just add another parameter in here. All right, and we'll do another multiply. Let's move this over a little bit more. And we'll say, okay, how much macro variation do we really want? Because what if that's too heavy, you know? So we can just say, we'll just multiply it against this, and we'll call this a parameter. And we'll call this, because this is the diffuse, we'll go ahead and call this, I guess, 2. So, by the way, what I'm doing is, when I set these priorities, I'm actually listing the order in which things are going to be read in my material instance. So let's call this macro variation. Okay, but I forgot to add the word diffuse. Diffuse underscore macro variation. So, and then we'll put this over here, and we'll put this over here. And so now I should have a very, very nice setup on my material here. I think there probably isn't a whole lot more I really have to do. So, I mean, I can do some commenting for the next person if they really want to see some stuff. So let's just do a comment. We'll just put this out for now. Okay. And then something happened. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, let's check this real quick. Make sure I didn't break it, because it's the diffuse that I'm not liking. So let's start to preview. Oh, it's at set to 0. Let's set this to 0.5. I could set it as a linear interpolation as well. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. I'm multiplying this value against, and I'm, yeah. Okay, so let's try maybe 0.2. Might be a little bit too much. Let's see what happens here. Oh, it's actually darkening it up. I don't mind that too much. It's actually making it a little bit more crimsony. That's actually kind of nice. You know what? Let's just roll with that for a minute. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we can just call this whole section. Let's come over here. Let's call all of this diffuse. I'm pressing C on the keyboard. All right. So there's that. Got about less than 10 minutes left. Okay. So I don't have to really comment down this. This is like my RGBA. It should be enough. Oh, shit. I gotta call my wife. Excuse me, guys. All right, guys, I apologize. Okay, I'm glad that was a quick phone call. Okay, this material should be set up, I think, the best to my ability right now. I know it looks like I lost some roughness in here. That's what I was checking for. But we'll see if we can clarify all of that in the next material. Pardon me. So we're going to go make materials. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a material. So let's go ahead and, you know what I should do? I need to plug this right here, this bad boy, into my emissive mask. No, even better. Let's just go ahead and steal my emissive setup. So I'm going to take these guys here. This is my emissive. So what's actually happening? I've got two colors blending together in this linear interpolation. I've got my emissive mask going into alpha, and I'm blending basically the two colors in with white and these colors. I'm also multiplying it with a power of 80. All right, so let's go ahead and copy this, and let's just paste this over here for now. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll run this back a little bit. So I'm going to actually comment this out now. We'll call this emissive. Okay. And let's just run this directly into the alpha. We're going to convert this parameter. We're going to call this emissive power. And we're not going to see any results inside of this mask because there is no emission happening. There's no emission happening from this RGBA. This will happen later on in the next material. So, and the reason why it's flat too is because I'm still previewing the ad. Okay, so hit apply. So let's make sure we save this. Okay, so there's our material function. And as a matter of fact, I called it M. It should be MF. Material function. Home. Material function. And my map kind of got destroyed. Whoops. I don't need this. My material function kind of got destroyed because it doesn't have. It's looking for the alpha channel here. And there is no alpha channel. So if there's no alpha channel, it's actually going to be set to 1, I think. So I can make a switch that says has alpha. Or I could just be real quick and let's just go ahead and reopen Photoshop. I'll save it as a 32 and then it'll fix itself. So, okay, moving on. Let's go ahead and make a material. Wait for Photoshop to open. Okay, let's go ahead and make a material. And we're going to call this material. So M underscore architecture underscore 00. How about we just do that? And or template or base. All right, so I call it a template. Okay, so now we're going to take our material function. We're going to drop it in. Okay, and now basically what we're going to do is we're going to do break. And we're going to one-to-one these guys. So base color, metallic, specular, roughness, emissive color, normal map, and then maybe later ambient occlusion. Not important right now. But that's it. That's the quick and dirty version of this. And I don't think I actually set my specular up. I don't really care right now. Let's just I got my appointment in 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and set that up. I can always change that later. So hit save. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make a material instance. Let's see, are you done loading? Nope. There you are. Okay, let's just go ahead and open up. I guess this is coming back to bite me in the booty. Main texture. And we're going to set this as a targa. So I got no alpha channel in here. So let's go ahead and just add that alpha 1. File, save as. Come on. And targa. This is a main RGBA 32. And close. We don't need you anymore. We'll go ahead and save it. It's going to add a little bit of size to the file, but I'm not going to add too much, so it's okay. And what we're going to do is we've got to reload or re-import the file. It's going to be over here. Just right click and do re-import, and it should kill the emissive. Just like so. All right. Very good. Okay, so here's where we're at. So let's go ahead and close this. Because now what we want to do is we want to take our template, we want to right click on it and do a material instance. So we're going to call it MI underscore architecture underscore exterior underscore Torii, T-O-R-I-I underscore base. Okay, underscore 00. And there's the first one. And this is what we're actually going to assign to our guy. Okay. So currently this is set up to be flat like so. I don't know why that is. That's okay. We'll just change it back. Well, whatevs. Whatever. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is, as you can see, the parameters that we made, we can actually switch the material out, switch the texture out, which we're going to do here in a moment. And then we've got all our stuff in the right order, which I think is pretty dope. Emissive power. Actually, I'm going to switch emissive power and put the Fresnels up. We can switch them around. No big deal. So I'll be able to change the Fresnel stuff when I see it on the geometry. I'm getting nervous. I gotta stop here in another minute. I'm actually gonna hit Control W, okay, and we're gonna call this support, S-U-P-P-O-R-T, and this is the one we're gonna change. And we're gonna take all of our other textures that we have. Let's go ahead and switch them out like this. Let's go ahead and light these bad boys up. Go to textures. And we're going to do a support there, do a normal map there, do one of these over here, and look at that. We got a light. Bam, baby. I don't like the color. The color is because of the macro variation. So we can actually change the macro variation. If we up this to about 0.6, there we go. I love it. And then we got emissive power. We control how bright that's going to be. You know what I can do is I can convert this to these colors to a parameter, which I should do. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go tell Charisma that I'm here too. Okay, so let's go back to materials. Discord is loading. Let's go back to our material function. Let's just switch some priorities around. So as you guys could see before, right, my Fresnel is at a lower priority than my emissive power, and this Fresnel is on top of my diffuse, so I'm going to switch that real quick. Okay, so let's come over here. And how we switch that priority in the list, macro variation is 0.2, and the powers are, so we're going to go ahead and switch this macro, oh no, we want that there. It's the emissive. Emissive is set to 0. Okay, so this is going to be 2. So let's just go ahead and set this to 15. Roughness blend is set to 5. We'll set this to 2. Wait, sorry. This is default. This is set priority to 2. This is 11, 10. We can set this to 13. So that'll rearrange. And now we've got our different colors. Let's go ahead and set these to parameters. And we'll call these different colors. So this is going to be emissive. This is going to be F2 for my field 2. And this is going to be emissive 1. And there we go. So this way I can actually change the colors of those lights. I think I'm going to make them blue anyways to match the rest of the scene. So now I'm applying, I'm hitting save. Now it should not update because this is open. Yeah, see, none of the changes are there. So you have to reopen the material. You also have to like resave the, you have to save and apply the material function. Then remember, we made the material, so we have to save the changes to the material now. And then now we can open up the material instance, and then there's our changes. And everything should be rearranged. My emissive power is still out of place, but now I can actually come in here and I can change the color of these guys. Make it more of a white light. Just like so. Add a little bit more blue. Like it. Okay, save. So now all we got to do is apply it to our geometry. Let's hit save there. Let's go find our blueprint. Okay. Now if you see, so here we go. So right now I've got the old material on. All right. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and deal with all of the Tory gates. It's all of these guys here, and you'll see I got all these materials on here. We're just gonna take our one material and apply it to every single one of those channels because there's no use to re-exporting out. And we know this is the base, so let's just drop it in one at a time. Just like this. It's not updating right away. It's going to have to compile. All right. Just like this. Just like this. Just like that. And then we have the other lanterns. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for the supports. I'm just going to drop them in one at a time. That one material is being called one time. Even though all of these different elements are looking at it, it's just still doing one material. And there we go, guys. There it is. So why it's, got this really white, reflection on it. It's really, really hot, right? Well, that's the Fresnel doing the talking. So all we got to do is we'll go ahead and open up the Tory gate base, and we'll just turn the Fresnel down. Fresnel power. So first and foremost, there's two types of Fresnel that's happening. Is you've got the distance, the edge distance, and then you've got the power of the edge distance. So let's go ahead and turn the power down to like 0.3. All right, and then we'll turn the edge distance to, which is going to be over here. I think we have to increase it and tighten it up. So let's do like 10. There we go. That's much better. That's much better. Kind of gives it a bit of a roll off. I really like it. It's just, to me, it's an artistic style, an artistic decision. But everything's working the way it's supposed to. So I just got to remember 10 and 0.3. So now I can compile this blueprint. Can hit save. I want to make that same change to the Fresnel settings over here on these little supports because it's really harsh. So let's go ahead and change that up. Let's go ahead and save you. Let's go ahead and open up the supports. And the Fresnel and over here, again, it's 10 and 3. So we go change and change. So this is 10 and this is 0.3. There we go. It's a little bit more bearable. And that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, but that's how you basically combine all of the stuff out. It would be a shame if I didn't show you guys what this looked like in game. So let's go ahead and close all this out. Save this architecture template. And let's hit play. Oh, we got to load the map. This is actually our first recorded video from what I understand, like officially. I know we've done some of this stuff over podcast, but man, I'm really happy. I'm really stoked about how all this has been going. Is Charisma here yet? Hey. Oh, yes, please save. Alrighty, so here we go. Still compiling, looks like. Come on now. So if I hit play, let's see what happens. Woohoo! So waterfall still needs to be fixed. Looks like my fog. Oh, my fog's working. Looks like it's still trying to compile data. All right, no problem. Let's come up through here. So the Fresnel on this on these crystals is a little too harsh. Not to change that too. It's okay. We're still working. I ain't ready yet. Running at a pretty low frame rate though. Oh, but that looks amazing. Man, Chris, you did a great job on this, dude. Looks super, super hot. Let's just go through the gate, make sure that works. Sure does. We'll get the other gate working a little later. Okay, thanks guys for joining us. Shalom. Whoops.